Sure, why game companies stopped making games, how money works. I love money! 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 Money!
It's an industry that's revolutionized every area of entertainment.
Spicy ramen's coming back to haunt me. And
the video game
money.
business rakes in
Money.
more than $20 billion a year, making bigger bucks than even Hollywood.
you know what's funny? $20 billion isn't even the budget for the army for America. I think it's $30 billion.
In the early 2000s, something remarkable happened. The video game industry brought in more revenue than the movie industry. At this time, video games had only been around for a few decades at most, and most media companies still viewed them as a toy to entertain children and computer nerds.
6 trillion? I thought it was 30 billion. Man, I must
Today,
be cooked.
The video game industry is
800
worth more than
billion?
the movie and music industry
My bad, I'm talking out of my ass, I
and the
guess.
companies that make these games are some of the most valuable businesses in the world. The only thing is, they don't really make video games anymore. Movie studios are pumping—
Yeah, they buy them off other people. 177 billion for the army. Yeah, I guess I talked out of my ass, my bad. I thought it was 30 billion. It's fucking 3. Well, how many trillion? 6 trillion? 800 billion? Bro. Oh my god, it's even worse than I thought.
out record numbers of big budget movies, which are being viewed by more people on more platforms. But video game studios are doing the opposite. Rockstar,
Back when it was
the creators
fun.
of the infamous Grand Theft Auto series, used to release a new game every 4 months on average. But as of mid-2022, their latest game is now almost 4 years old, and there is no news of any new releases coming soon. Despite this dry spell, Rockstar's parent company just had its best financial year ever. Why? Well, the reason is simple. Video game companies don't make money producing video games anymore. In fact, game companies will try to do whatever they can to avoid producing new games.
How old is this video? It's from a year ago. That's why it says GTA didn't come out, because it's a year old.
Games, because their businesses do better the less they make. I think a lot of you are already muttering microtransactions under your breath, but that's only half the story. So it's time to learn how money works to find out why video game publishers stopped publishing video games. This week's lesson was made possible by ClickUp. We all love the feeling of accomplishment.
What the hell is ClickUp?
It's especially rewarding when you do
GTA
something
Online.
that took
I
a lot
love
of work
shark
and effort to
cards.
make, and an even better feeling when you accomplish something in a very efficient manner, knowing that you're not wasting any extra time. Imagine having one extra day every week, more time to cook healthy meals, work on becoming a better content creator, or just binge watching some good reality TV show. I know if
the word good and reality TV does not go together. What is this guy fucking cooking up?
If I had an extra day, I would be spending it going to the gym more often. Or at least, I like to tell myself that. No matter how you'd spend that time, ClickUp is the productivity platform that'll save you 1 day a week on work guaranteed. ClickUp is a work management platform designed to flex your team's unique needs.
What the
Whether
hell?
you're building product roadmaps, launching a marketing campaign, managing engineering sprints, or supporting clients around the globe,
I don't need this shit. I'm a
customizable to help your
VTuber.
organization supercharge productivity, alignment, and visibility. To get started, use the link in the description and use code HMW to get 15% off ClickUp's massive unlimited plan for a year, meaning you can start reclaiming your time for under $5 a month. Join the more than 800,000 highly productive teams using ClickUp today.
Work. Ah, finally. React! That's right. That's all I know.
Video games are a major industry, and their development has become a major business endeavor.
As I said, the industry's on fire. More people have recognized the value of games.
Cyberpunk 2077 cost CD Projekt Red $316 million to produce and market.
That's a lot of
This is more
dosh.
than only a handful of the biggest budget movies ever.
Wait, why did he get his pants off? What the fuck? He stood up midway on the. Oh my
It was
god,
also a
man.
poorly received video game. which tanked the game company's credibility with their audience and their stock price with their investors.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Their
sorry.
2021 annual earnings report showed that they generated gross sales of $207 million from the title.
They didn't
may
fix
go
it
on to
up.
sell more copies.
You have to take into consideration that we are the nerds that keep up with the games that improve through word of mouth. It's not a common thing for like the average person. If they hear that, oh no, this game sucks, it had a poor launch, they're not gonna check again. I've said this before about No Man's Sky as well. The average person who heard about No Man's Sky thought it was dog shit. And then they never looked at it ever again, which is why it's so detrimental to release games in half-finished states.
Copies as time passes,
would you
but
stop
so
it?
far, this game
Oh,
is
my
shaping
dog
up
is
to
having
be
a
a
fucking
staggering loss for
conversation.
I and the entire leadership team are deeply sorry for this, and this video is me publicly owning up to that.
the company. Now, you might think I'm
Would you
cherry-picking a
stop
famously bad
it?
example, but many
my
game
God.
publishers
Would you stop it? Hey, come here. Come here right now. Juji. You stubborn little asshole.
Fucking Shibas, man.
Hey. Hey.
God. Yeah, get over here. Yeah, get over here, you little wiener. Asshole. Shibas are lucky. They're cute. Yeah, they are lucky. They're really cute. He's so fucking stubborn. Sorry. There we
found
go.
themselves investing heavily
just
into
heard
AAA game
something.
titles only for them to fail upon launch.
Little baby.
Fallout 76, Battlefield 2042, and Destiny all being big budget stinkers. AAA
Yep,
games have
Destiny
become
fucking
incredibly complex
sucks!
to develop. They now require unique,
Bye,
dedicated
shitpost.
work of thousands of people. The more moving parts these publishers try to put into their games, the more chances there are for things to go wrong.
Yeah, it's crazy. Again, 9,000 people worked on Diablo 4. 9,000 people, and that's why we have an issue with the inventory system. That's why trading's not allowed on Diablo 4, because there are people. 9,000 people helped make the game,
The
man.
original Halo, produced by a team of around 100 people, was quite substantial. Halo Infinite, which was released 2 decades later, had more than 100 voice actors. Video games becoming more expensive to produce is not, by itself, a problem. An industry this big is always going to have room for massive budgets, but if companies are going to make
It
these
can be,
investments,
though.
they need to be worthwhile.
Shut up and take my money.
Most big budget games, just like most big budget movies, do make money. But despite
Yeah,
both being products
sure.
designed to entertain people, movies and video games are very different. Most people will only ever watch a movie once or twice, whereas video games are designed to be played for hundreds of hours. Video game
Sure.
companies have learned to take advantage of this by selling more and more features to
don't
players as
remind
they
me,
continue
man.
to play. These microtransactions
FIFA
from
coins! FIFA! Lethal Company destroying most AAA games is a big W? Yeah. Sims DLC, dude, every DLC on Sims costs $40 fucking dollars,
many
man.
titles have become the primary revenue generator, with actual game sales being a nice little bonus. Some companies have made their games free to play because they know that more online players is more opportunities for them to sell virtual upgrades or cosmetic items on the game's marketplace. Releasing a new version of the game can cannibalize these potential sales as players move over to the new game with the new store. If Rockstar released Grand Theft Auto 6 this year, there is no doubt
This did not age well. How old is this thing? A year. It came out a year ago. July 30th, 2022. Okay, yeah, they
it would
didn't
make a
know.
ton of money, but it would also reduce revenue coming in from Grand Theft Auto Online, the company's biggest earner. It might still be worth it, but it's a huge risk. The company would need to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to produce a new game and run the risk of it being a buggy mess.
Yeah. This is why MMOs are also really unpopular for development, is because MMOs cost so much money compared to like a single player game as well.
It's the same engine.
They're really
that
expensive
I
to
worked
make,
on when I was
just
there,
as a baseline
the
cost.
core of it. It's the same content. They've really perfected the systems. Again, there's a beautiful machine there, that you'd have to try really hard to fuck up.
Not only can game companies lose a source of revenue from an upgrade, they can also annoy the big spenders who would be left with hundreds of dollars worth of virtual items in an outdated video game. Rockstar would have a choice. Do they A, let people have all the stuff they paid for in Grand Theft Auto 5
Upkeep and
Grand
MMOs?
Theft Auto
Yeah,
6,
server costs
or
are
do they
insanely
B,
expensive.
make people start from scratch? Option A would mean that their new project is going to miss out on a lot of revenue from people who are happy to spend real-life money to have the coolest stuff the game has to offer.
This shit drove me insane. This is why I could never play GTA Online anyway. The fact that, like, I think there was a video that explained everything with how shark cards work and how the system for buying cars that look cool and are better or are the best, they all cost real life money. You can't earn them in game. It's impossiple.
Leaving potential revenue on the table is not going to be popular with the investors that need to greenlight such a large project.
Around GTA
Hacking,
6.
yeah, that's also true, but I'm just saying as a general.
How do we think about
in general,
remaster and console cycle potentially impacting the
remastered this?
Any interest in giving a year right here?
Right, so Rockstar hasn't announced any new titles for the market.
Option B will make the most financially valuable players angry if the new game doesn't have enough new features. They might not take the leap at all and choose to continue playing the old version with all of their stuff. On the topic of new features, putting them into games has become both easier for small projects and harder for larger ones.
Yeah.
We have already seen that massively ambitious games chocked full of features where you can do everything have the potential to be massive embarrassments when even a few of these features don't work. The problem big game companies face is that they can't push these large projects without promising something to differentiate them from the long list of titles that already exist. There was a time when new features could be as simple as updated graphics.
Yeah,
Gran
Final
Turismo
Fantasy
games
XIV.
used to make
For those that don't know, Final Fantasy XIV, before this Final Fantasy XIV got released, had a Final Fantasy XIV that ended up fucking getting shut down because it sucked so much ass. It was basically borderline unplayable and not cool, like not fun. Even for like the most hardcore of people.
headlines about what at the time looked like photorealistic graphics. Now, game development tools like Unreal Engine give developers access to high-end graphics right out of the box without the need for teams of developers to build a game from scratch. Not only is it harder for big-budget games to distinguish themselves on features, it's harder for them to justify their need at all.
Who said?
The marketing people.
Marketing? I thought we were supposed to have total creative control.
Welcome to the Matrix.
The original Doom launched in 1993 and quickly became the game people thought of when they thought of a combat video game.
Oh my gosh,
Less than
okay,
10
give me a
years
second.
later,
Oh my god, such a grumpy little bitch.
In 2001,
You're so grumpy.
Halo Combat Evolved arguably stole that title and
Now he's
quickly
in my
became
lap,
the most
so he won't
popular
stop
first-person
barking.
shooter ever up until that point.
Shooter should really enjoy the game as should anyone. Besides being easily the best game of the Xbox launch, it's one of the best first-person shooters ever on any
Grumpy
platform.
rat.
It was easy
He's
to
my
see
grumpy
why.
rat.
The technology was vastly different, and the
Halo,
overall immersion
Halo.
and enjoyability of the first Halo
God.
game was far greater than that of Doom. Now, 20 years later, people are still playing the first Halo game because it really has everything you could ever want in a shooter. Yes, the graphics are obviously dated, but the difference between Combat Evolved and the latest Halo game are significantly smaller.
God, that's so
than the differences
nostalgic
between
looking
Combat
to me.
Evolved
I
and
watched
Doom.
so many friends
For
play
many
this.
players, the nostalgia and lower hardware requirements of the older game are actually a draw. Companies are forced to get more and more ambitions in order to justify new games. And while technology can make some things possible
Halo
that
Remake
simply weren't
1?
20 years
Are you
ago,
cooked or
it still
something?
depends on an ever larger
You
number of
okay?
human developers to stuff these
You mean a
features into the game.
re-remake? Like,
video games have changed the course of human evolution to some degree.
When existing games exist that people are
Yeah,
already perfectly
re-remake.
happy with, they are also going to be far less accepting of any bugs or mistakes made by any of the thousands of developers now involved in bringing these games to life.
I never played Halo.
So
I mean,
have become more expensive
it was
and
on the
riskier.
screen. It was on the screen, but I guess you weren't paying attention.
Technology has hit a plateau where there is less need for new games to keep up, and game companies have found new ways to make money much more predictably. Now, I said at the beginning of this video that microtransactions were only half the story behind why game companies could get away with going so long between new big releases. Yes, it's
Lego
true.
Fortnite.
If gamers were not happy to spend hundreds of dollars on a single game over many years, these companies would probably be forced to release more games to keep the money rolling in. In fact, the predatory monetization of video games is something I have already made a separate video on.
You have a buddy who loves Halo Infinite? That is pitiful, but at least he's happy, you know?
Opportunity for the big players in the video game industry, and this is providing tools to other game developers. There is an old saying that if you want to get rich in a gold rush, you don't dig for gold, you sell the shovels. There are thousands of small game studios all trying to make the next PUBG or Fortnite. Some of them will make millions of dollars, and most of them will make very...
I'm actually really scared for the guy that's making Lethal Company. If he sells that to some fucking company, it's gonna die. It happened to Fall Guys. The only thing that I can think of that kind of didn't die was Among Us, but even then Among Us kind of, I don't know, it kind of devolved, I guess. Yeah, it's gonna become terrible, like, instantly. I hope he has a foresight not to do that. Have you seen the new Mickey Mouse gameplay? No? No, I have not.
Little money at all. Bigger games with more money behind them do have a better chance of making a return on their investment, but that is still digging for gold in a very crowded and competitive marketplace. Valve was once a very successful game studio. Now, producing games is just a side hustle for them, because they make more money running the Steam marketplace.
Why doesn't Valve make games anymore?
Because they don't have to. They have enough money.
They sure
End of the news.
Epic Games also started off as a video game developer, but they have now branched out into running the Epic Game Store, as well as licensing the tools that they use to make their games to other aspiring developers. Unreal Engine costs $1,500 per developer per year. There are 22,000 self-supported video game businesses operating in America. Even if all of these companies had 5 developers each, that is over 100,000 Unreal Engine customers. Unreal Engine currently has 13% market share, meaning that Epic Games could be making $20 million in licensing fees alone, which is actually not that much really. But Epic Games isn't done there. They actually intentionally make their software cheap to use. In many cases, they make it totally free. Why? Because they also charge a 5% royalty fee on any sales a game makes over $1 million.
That's a lot of money,
Just
man!
like free-to-play games are designed to bring in big spending players, Unreal's free-to-develop model is designed to bring in big earning titles. That 13% market share could be bringing in as much as $650
million. Wait, there was a doggy on the screen! Hold on, go back!
Titles. That 13%
the doggo! It's my Shiba.
Market share
He on the
could be
screen
bringing in
right
as
there.
much as $650 million from the American game market alone. Epic is a privately held company, so they do not release their financials, but it is estimated that the company earns more than $1 billion a year worldwide from their game engine alone.
Bet.
Some other companies have taken a less technical approach to generate new income streams. Some of the biggest names in gaming, like EA and Ubisoft, have just acquired dozens of smaller game studios. Not only does this share overhead costs amongst lots of different projects, it also makes for much more predictable revenue.
Go buy your mama a house. Go buy your whole family houses.
Oh
Put
shit.
this money in your savings account. Go spend some money for no reason.
Yeah.
Come back and ask for more.
Instead of putting all of their eggs in one basket, these companies spread the risk out over dozens of studios and hundreds of different titles. Some of them will do well,
DJ
and some
Khaled,
of them will
man.
fail.
Don't
But
buy
as
your
long as those
mama a
winners pay for
house.
the losers and then some, the business is sound. Managing lots of smaller developers also means that these big companies get exposure to lots of different areas of the gaming market. There's money to be made in hardcore competitive games, story-driven games, social games, and mobile games, but it's impossible to make a game that
Social
makes money
games.
from all of these
Animal
markets at
Crossing is
once.
not that social.
Unfortunately, big budget games
I barely
are going to
interacted
become
with
less
people
and
when I
less
played it.
common. Video games are a business, and businesses need to go where the money tells them to. Candy Crush is one of the highest grossing games of all time, and it was made on an initial budget of less than $1 million.
Tasty.
For as long as customers are content with the games they currently have and are willing to spend more money on the titles that came out decades ago, game companies are going to avoid taking risks that could sink their entire business. Now, if you want to find out just how creative these companies have become and squeezing as much money as possible out of their players, you should go and watch my video on the predatory monetization of video games. A special thanks again to ClickUp
love being
for making it
predatored
possible for everybody to
upon.
keep
I
on
love being
learning
preyed
how money
upon.
works.
Are you winning, son?
Here are going to be smaller than my own channel, mostly because I just want to highlight channels that
What the
might be harder to stumble upon than your Graham Steffens or whatever.
What was that? I'm so confused. Mommy! Piss, piss, piss. Shit! Piss, 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 piss. Fuck, fucking shit on calm. Piss myself. Fuck, 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 piss, fuck, piss, 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 fuck, fuck, piss, fuck, piss, fuck, piss, 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 fuck, piss.